Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And as you can see, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon by talking about the movies, merchandising, theme parks, whatever the case may be. So, this is gonna be a fairly lengthy video, so I'm gonna do my best to keep this under 50 minutes. Um, Usually if something's over an hour, I'll just cut into parts, but point being is that as you can see, yes, in something in regards of Elsa. More specifically, it's in regards of her sexual orientation. Why is this keep being a big deal? I have no idea. The answer itself would vary, of course. Not that I have anything against the idea of representation in animated features, whether it's Disney or anybody else. I'm fine with that. But um, But with Elsa, if this was in the first movie, the very first movie, I guess it would have been more lenient. But I'm responding to a podcast, I guess, kind of thing that asking, is she really a lesbian? She's not. Her sexual orientation was never relevant to the overall plot. Even if she's straight, pansexual, bisexual, whatever else sexual you can think of, it was never relevant to the overall plot anyway. So in some ways, this would have just seemed like random if you think about it. And I don't think she needs a relationship by any means. She should be left alone. And yeah, that's going to be the topic of discussion. I mean, if she is, I don't care. There's nothing against it, but it seems a bit late, don't you think? So this individual is trying to look through a conservative perspective and all this, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense since this group of people tend to not like the LGBT plus community anyway. So what the hell?
Hello, all. This is iZombie Heart Zoe from the Interrogating Ideology with a Chainsaw blog. I'm starting my first podcast, so we will see how this goes. I'm on my drive to work at the moment. We will roll with it.
All right. That was bad from the start. You doing from your car, dude? On the way to somewhere? No notes, no nothing at all? Give me a break. Come on.
So I wrote an article yesterday, or over the weekend, about Frozen. Now, Frozen isn't a horror movie, but...
Okay, you kind of muffled in the last bit, but Frozen isn't a horror movie? Is that what you said? I mean, okay, no shit, Sherlock. I didn't notice that. Thank you for pointing out the obvious.
It's still incredibly popular and has a lot of influence over the world. So that's what we're looking at. So what I ran across on the internet was a hashtag. So this hashtag is Give Elsa a Girlfriend.
Hashtag you eat my ass. Just because people want that to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. Friends, it's not that complicated, you know. Just because the fans demand it doesn't mean it will happen.
Now, Elsa is the main character of this of Frozen.
No, I wouldn't exactly say she's the main character. Her and her sister, yeah, but the only one? No.
She's the soon-to-be queen, but princess who...
Elsa's the queen by what the film is saying. Again, okay. You're not even getting anything right here. You're just trying to do a quick summary of the plot.
Has magic power to freeze things.
Technically she's a queen and not a princess. Yeah, a lot of people keep getting this wrong, and I keep bringing this up again.
And so she, is living her life and doing her thing, and...
Like what exactly? What are you talking about? She can't be doing her whole thing because she's a queen. She can't really do whatever she wants.
Throughout...
What was that, dude? What was that?
This is like what kind of pissed me off about the...
Well, what's pissed me off here is that you didn't explain nothing. You did a piss poor job talking about the overall plot.
Hashtag and hearing all this movement and all this press that this thing is getting is, do you watch this movie?
I don't think you did, really, Mr. Hashtag I suck ass for a living. Yeah.
There's no signs that she's a lesbian.
Yes, that's true. And there was no signs that she's straight either. People just assume she's straight or lesbian, though there's no evidence to support either claim when you actually think about it.
right? So she's not macking on any ladies. She's
Ah, that was so cringe. Oh, she's not macking. Who uses the word macking? I know he's referring to kissing, but newsflash: when you have a crush on somebody, that's not the only way to show affection. Or are you one of those guys that can't read body language for shit? Is that what it is? Yeah, I don't know.
not getting her moving on any of that, and it doesn't make any sense.
Jesus Christ, dude, that was cringe. She's not moving on anybody. What do you? This seems like the dialogue from middle school. I try not to say the word sex. Is that what it is?
So I mean, I get it, right? So you have a girl who's a princess who's in a Disney movie,
But she's not a princess, though. She's not a princess. She's a queen, technically.
and she has rejected all of her suitors, right?
What the hell are you talking about? What suitors? When was she ever offered any suitors? Unless you're talking about the female aspect of cyberpunk, you could do this kind of a thing. But even then, the game doesn't outright say it. It comes to sexual orientations and actually having sex. And are you getting the movies mixed up with Brave? Yeah, you getting the movie mixed up with that? Is that what it is? Is that what's going on?
So all of the dudes, all the princes that have been trying to get
Again, when did this ever happen in the movie? When? Where? How? It seems like you never watched it. Is that what it is? Seems like I might have a problem that she might be a lesbian.
on her, or is she just not letting it happen? And so you could draw this conclusion. Okay, so she's rejecting dudes, therefore.
Oh Christ, dude, this is batshit stupid. Okay, I guess she's not a princess. And when in the movie did she ever reject any men? Oh, many men, lots of men. She never rejected any men. When the hell did this ever happen? Explain. Did it ever cross anybody that maybe Elsa is into feminine looking men? Just extremely feminine looking women as well? And yeah, I mean, okay, yes, the film does not indicate that either whatsoever. I'm just throwing it out there. How is it that it's only if she's straight, only if she's lesbian? That's it. And why is there no any other options, like at all? Point being, even when it comes to sexuality, this a lot of people are just so black and white about it. Ugh. And honestly, I don't care one way or another, but the films don't indicate anything.
She's a lesbian, but that's not good enough of that's not good. That's not good enough reason for any of that. So
again, these films will have to confirm it. You can't just rely on fans theorizing it. No, that's not good enough for me. The film themselves have to confirm it. Not what this blog post said, not what Facebook said, not what Instagram said, not what Tumblr said, YouTube or whoever else. The film has to tell me. No one else. The films themselves has to tell me.
but you'd think that this argument would be coming from a more conservative perspective. That
More of a conservative perspective. I'm assuming you're referring to being a conservative. You realize they don't really support the LGBT plus community, really, like at all. But okay.
looking at, all right, so she's not macking on these dudes, so
Again, who says macking? Oh, she's not. She's not straight up macking with these dudes. Who warned you like that? Are you a little kid? Are you from middle school? And Christ, I've already said this already. You're making me repeat myself here, dude. And regardless of her sexual orientation, kissing isn't the only way of showing affection. You can hold hands. You can set up some little dinner date, or maybe go to movie theater or watch a movie that you may not personally like, but your partner does, or partners. And okay, when did a movie ever indicate she has to test the waters, no pun intended, with a bunch of dudes? When was this ever a point in the plot? And I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure that she did kiss, let's say, 8 different men. She kissed 8 different men. I'm pretty sure you can call her a whore for that. And first of all, no slut shaming, of course. I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm just trying to set an example here. That is all. So yeah, if she did do that, I'm pretty sure you're gonna just pretty much be judgmental anyway. I don't like slut shaming. And another thing, you're getting this movie mixed up with the other one. Right, that was a plot point for this movie.
Then she's frigid. If she's got issues, she's lesbian.
Huh? What? She's frigid. Frigid what? How does that equal to being a lesbian? You mean social anxiety? Is that what it is? That's not the one and the same either.
That's where you would come from. But no. This is coming from LGBT supporters and lesbian supporters that are like, hey, let's make.
What are you talking about? I support the LGBT plus community, and there's a bunch of other people, and I'm pretty sure not all of them are going to agree to give a lesbian, girlfriend or whatever. I could be watching YouTube videos from this one guy, instead of just dealing with this mess.
Let's give Elsa a girlfriend because she's a lesbian deep down inside somewhere. So the other kind of case that is being made here, or like some of the backing for all of this stuff, is this "Let It Go" song being a anthem for coming out of the closet. Now, all right, so again, there's kind of a jump of a conclusion that's happening. So in this song, early in the song, one of the lyrics talks about shutting the door on something, right? Now, the problem here is that they're drawing the conclusion between.
No, the idea is that Elsa's been isolated. She's been locked away, and of course, all her memory has been altered because of the incident that happened to them when they were little, and she'll be in the bedroom for quite a while. That doesn't mean there's some sort of indication that she's lesbian. Yeah, it wouldn't be one of those people like that you believe that it's supposed to be a metaphor for something. Come on.
Door and a closet door, and there's no connection directly. I mean, you can kind of say anybody who's transitioning from, people knowing nothing about some secret they have to everyone know about it. Yes, that's a transition, or even admitting.
What are you talking about? What? What? Her being a lesbian, again, was never indicated. It's not something she was trying to keep hidden. She was trying to hide her powers, yeah, but it wasn't that.
To yourself that you have this thing. That's a transition from, one side of a door to another side of the door. But to automatically go like, oh wait, that's she's lesbian, she's coming out of the closet. Oh, she's talking about me. You can stretch it, but it's just the evidence not in the movie. But on the other hand, it's not to say that this isn't a good idea, right? So I think that giving Elsa a girl would be an amazing idea. And, actually grabbing onto this Let It Go song and doing.
Oh boy, again, you got the song wrong, like so many other people. The song Let It Go was not referring to being a lesbian, coming out of the closet. That's no. I mean, yes, she was accepting herself. Yes, I got the powers. I shouldn't be ashamed. I shouldn't keep that hidden from me. I mean, you could say it has something to do with social anxiety, maybe, but there's no ties to her being a lesbian, like at all. That's not what the movie's trying to say, at all.
Kind of taking it as like our generation's Wizard of Oz, as like a giant coming out allegory, and
that is not though, absolutely not, not in any shape or form, like at all.
Doing all these different things. I mean, we could do it, right? So that makes sense, I guess.
Not really. How does that make sense? In which way? How? Explain!
And I guess that the Wizard of Oz just has as much evidence in the movie to be a.
Okay, now we're talking about Wizard of Oz now. Like in Dorothy or whatever her name is. Yeah, he's trying to say there's no evidence. Of course, there's no evidence. People just claim that there is when there isn't.
Allegory for coming out of the closet and something for the LGBT community to latch onto, right? So that's there. You can do that.
Oh, Christ. You're just grabbing at straws at this point. I mean, okay, to be fair, you already were. And yeah, this comes up. You're just making this you making this up as you go, pretty much. Give me a break here.
I mean, hell, you could do that with Texas Chainsaw Massacre if you were.
Yeah, Christ Almighty. I know what scene he's talking about when it comes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Excuse me, being trans and being lesbian are not both one and the same thing. Being trans has nothing to do with sexual orientation, like at all. Christ, you can order stuff online by using your cell phone, and this is what we're talking about. Okay.
They wanted to stretch it and start talking about transgender stuff and Leatherface, but nobody's doing that because it's not a good role model, I guess.
Again, wanting to have a sex change and wanting to be or turning out to be lesbian, I mean, both are not one and the same. And what is this business about being a good role model? What? And yes, people had used this movie, this horror film, as a way to make fun of trans people because apparently this was a good representation of trans people. That's not what the movie's trying to do, but okay. You can actually be crazy regardless of what gender you are or what sexual orientation you have.
But we could if we really wanted to and just take this and roll with it. But anyway, so on the other side of this business,
What?
is the people who do not want to have Elsa as a girlfriend and are actually terrified that this might be the case, that this might be coming forward, that she might kiss a girl and like it.
There's this thing called being represented, and that's basically what this is going on. They want to be represented in a movie.
Coming forward. So they've responded with their own hashtag, which is Prince Charming for Elsa. Now, there's something it's even more ridiculous in a way because it's
rather ridiculous that you turned this into a thing. Why does this have to be a podcast exactly? Why? I don't get it. Who the hell cares? Christ, this is dumb. Really dumb.
Look at this. You got all of the princes that were in this movie.
There was more than one princess in this movie?
Where?
Where? Okay, and I don't see any other. What? When was there more than one princess in this movie? There were not like two princesses, three princesses, 4, 5, I don't know, 8, 10. What other princesses are you talking about? Again, I'm getting under the impression you didn't even see the movie or the sequel, like at all.
We're horrible people. An absolute failure at life.
What the hell are you talking about? How were any of the princes being failures alive? In which way? Oh, Christ almighty, man. Maybe you really should have thought these through. I think this is ridiculous. You made a ridiculous claim right there. You realize, who are you talking about anyway? You realize that the princesses have one of the ultimate positions of authority. More power than you would have ever had in your entire life. Okay. Ugh.
And so it's strange that we want to put more Prince Charmings in this movie that like has all these douchebags.
Again, what are you talking about? The only Prince douchebag over here was Hans. But that was intentionally written that way because submersion of expectation, because they're typically the heroes of the story. So how is this evidence of everything else you're talking about?
Just kind of ruining the lives of women and betraying.
What? Okay. You're probably just saying that just so you can kiss some ass, just so you can get laid later on. Is that what it is? How desperate do you have to be, dude? I mean, really? Okay.
Throughout this whole movie, for me, that's one of the geniuses of Frozen is that the women got betrayed and learned their lesson. Like,
no. Yes, Princess Anna made the mistake of being naive, assuming that she could trust Hans, sure. but that was her own fault in some ways when you think about it. But this doesn't mean that the film is trying to state that all Princess Charmings were all bad. The film was not saying that. Again, it's submersion of expectation because the audience felt like she was about to be saved, but oh, he's the bad guy.
It's a lot, and it was so like, and there was no resolution to that. There wasn't like,
are you sure about that? I sure there wasn't a revolution to that part you just got to talking about.
There wasn't like, okay, she gets betrayed by this prince, and then boom, let's find another one to latch onto. Now the end of the
Again, what are you talking about? How does that equal to that and this and that and everything else? And what's the connection here with Queen Anna being apparently a lesbian? Okay, you're just going all over the place. Oh boy, we're just typical when it comes to these podcasts. These people seem to be going all over the damn place for some absurd reason. Okay.
movie with two sisters getting to a better place and not one, princess finding some happily ever after thing. So it's like, all right, so there's some unfulfilled room to give Elsa or any of these princesses some dude, right? I think the sister Anna got the lump.
Wait, I'm confused. So you get annoyed at the fact that they don't have the typical happy-go-lucky ending, and you'll get mad at the fact that they may change certain things, and then you get mad at the fact that they don't have it. What are you getting at? I'm confused.
Lumberjack guy or the ice breaking.
You mean Kristoff? He's not. How can you not remember that? Oh boy.
Dude. And they're in a place where they might get somewhere, but it's not needed. Like it's fine to have a narrative where women aren't kind of latched onto some dude. Like that's okay.
Yes, not every single woman in the world doesn't necessarily have to have a relationship, sure. But the way you're wording it, you sound bitter. You sound really bitter. Who hurt you? Did you have a lot of bad experiences in your life prior to this? Is that what's going on? I'm getting a sense of that. Oh boy, this guy.
But anyway, so the other kind of end of this argument is, the idea of giving Elsa Gerbil would be inserting.
Dude, you didn't even try to rehearse. What are you trying to say here? It just comes out, you just stumbling along. What are you trying to say? From what I can gather from here, folks, is that he's trying to be the yes man to a woman, just agree to everything that she does. I'm hoping that she will be impressed by this, what he's doing, just so he can be touched. I guess that's what's going on. Maybe I don't get it. That's at least the impression I'm getting off here, folks. That's all. I don't know the person on a personal level, obviously. I'm just making a response to this really poorly constructed podcast. That's all I'm doing here. And it's terrible. It's really bad.
Politics into children's movies.
It's fine to make about politics. She's a queen. Queen has a political power. And technically, it's a family movie, not a kid's movie. Yes, there's a difference. Oh yeah, another thing. How's it? It's political when it comes to the LGBT plus community and not everything else. Right. If it's straight, it's all right. But then, if it's two women, oh my God, it's political. It's political. Oh no, robber. It's not all that bullshit.
But it's like there's already politics in children's movies.
Okay. It doesn't have to be a bad thing if it's done properly, but okay.
The whole industry is politics. I mean, the amount of money that Disney rakes in off of the experience that they're giving children and their parents. I mean,
you realize that Walt Disney, when he was alive, he was actually pro-war, and he actually helped the soldiers in war too. So
the amount of influence that these films and the propaganda and the marketing.
What propaganda? Oh yeah, you're just trying to talk down on the LGBT plus community. That's all this is.
It goes into this to just like assume that like that's not a political force. It's just
must I make that statement again about Walt Disney when he was alive. It was always political from the get-go. And when it comes to politics and the LGBT plus community, you realize that a lot of straight people forced them to be political to begin with because they're trying to put them in the shadow for me. Not that I'm trying to agree with this guy at all. I'm just putting it out there. This makes no sense at all.
Stupid or naive.
I don't find you funny.
And so, okay, so they want to say that this is forcing politics into this thing.
They just want equal rights. That is it. So you get mad at the fact that they were everywhere now? Come on. You realize that they were forced into hiding, right? Come on.
I'm like, all right, well, let's look at the movie itself, right? So my biggest problem with this Frozen movie.
The only reason you seem to have an issue with this film is that there's a possibility that she may be a lesbian. Even though the film itself was not indicating that. Like, at all. Whatsoever.
Is that it's hyped up as this, like, radically feminist thing, and in a
I'm gonna hurt somebody, I swear. Do I have to stop in every sentence you make? Just because you think this is about feminism does not mean it equals to lesbianism. Being a lesbian and a feminist are not both one and the same thing. That seems stereotypical. And I'm fairly certain if any Prince characters would just do something like this, none of you would be complaining. You hypocrites. Yeah.
Respect it is. In the respect that it's following female narratives that don't have to do with crushing on some dude.
Again, who hurt you, man? Who hurt you? Did somebody really hurt you on a deep emotional level? I mean, come on now. I had bad 8 marriages, but I'm not thinking of the same like yours. Always sign up for a prenup, folks. Just letting you know right now. Sign up for a prenup. And besides, the fact that even if there was a possibility if Elsa was a lesbian, this alone does not mean they were trying to erase the traditions of a straight marriage or whatever. That's not what's going on here at all.
And that the lessons they learn from these princes that are just failures at life are, very important, right? And then they bond as women and do their thing.
Oh, Christ almighty, dude. You have no idea how a lesbian relationship works. You acting like you're trying to throw some guesses on how they work, but this guy, you make me crazy. Gee, here's a thought. If you want to get to know the person like a lesbian, ask him about it.
Right? But the biggest problem I have is the whole concept of the movie. So you have the
whole concept of the film is fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with what's going on. You just don't like the fact that it's 2 women, or possibly 2 women, checking each other out. Is that what it is? Yes.
These 2 characters, you have Elsa and Anna, and they're growing up, and Elsa has this magic power, and they're just playing and screwing around, and she does this thing with the ice, and all of a sudden, Anna has ice in her heart, and she.
That actually happened way later on in the movie, and she did not get hit in the heart earlier on. She got hit in the head in the beginning of the movie, but okay.
He's about to die, and so the parents of this kingdom take these 2 girls to the rock trolls. Why they're
just called trolls? My God, why do you have to be calling them like rock trolls? That seems weird. They're just trolls. Again, stuff like this makes me think you didn't really watch. He's just going on what he said or she said. Well, it's either that or you're just terrible at reviewing movies, which is probably the case. Well, either way, it does not spell good news for this video because this entire thing's bad. Real bad. Oh, boy.
They're the people that that solve problems I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? And the film never indicated that they're going to fix every problem in the kingdom.
But they take them to the rock trolls, and the solution that these trolls provide is to erase Anna's memory.
God damn it, this again. It's pronounced Anna, not Anna. It's Anna. So yeah, folks, I'm about to end this. I'm going to split this in 2 parts because this is going for quite a while. But yeah, I know he's trying to hide his homophobia when it comes to oh, I'm just trying to give it a religious perspective or whatever, like we were saying way earlier. Which is come on. And there's some other religious people that are more blunt about it, which I'm about to show you in just a sec. But yeah, this individual I'm about to show them say it's immoral to support this pride stuff. So here we go.
One of the reasons why they're attacking me is because of my religious beliefs. I am a firm believer, and I'm not shy about saying this. Homosexuality and transgenderism are sin. According to the tenets of my Christian faith, that is sinful behavior. And it is sinful for people to wrap themselves up in it, identify themselves by it, and it is immoral for people to promote it to other people. In this country, you have the right to be able to be a homosexual or transgender person. There's no doubt about that, and I'll stand up for your right to be able to do that. But as far as you going into schools and promoting it to young people and trying to push your feelings off or your lifestyle on someone else, that is an absolute no-go. Just because I disagree with your lifestyle doesn't mean that I hate you or that I want to take away your constitutional rights. It simply means that I have a standard in my life built on the deeply held religious values that are guaranteed to me by the Constitution, and I'm going to stand by those rights. And so that is another component of this that people really need to take a strong look at. They're not just trying to silence our voices as citizens of the United States of America. They're trying to silence our voices as believers in Christ. Because if you notice, I can't think of a single solitary time in this country's history, in this recent history, where somebody of the Muslim faith was demonized because of their beliefs about homosexuality. They always come after the Christian church. They always come after the Christian. We have got to stand strong and let people know that, yes, we consider those things to be a sin, but we also consider fornication and adultery to be sin, a myriad of other things. But it's not about hating anyone or wanting to take away someone's constitutional rights. It's about having a constitutional right to your deeply held religious convictions and being able to spread those religious convictions to those who believe like you and to your children and not having that taken away. This goes to the heart of religious freedom. It goes to the heart of religious freedom. More to the point, it goes to the heart of the bigotry that we see. And yeah, I use the word bigotry because they love that word. The bigotry that we see against Christians. Because I'm a Christian, because I believe that homosexuality is a sin and adultery is a sin and fornication is a sin, but chiefly because I believe homosexuality is a sin, these people want to call me names and push me out of the public square. That is not how this country was designed to work. And I reiterate the fact that if I was worshiping under a crescent instead of worshiping under a cross, this would not be happening to me. They wouldn't have the unmitigated gall to speak up against me if I was a Muslim and believe these things. But because I'm a Christian, they feel free to attack me. So we have got to band together as Christians and come together and understand that we have the right to our deeply held religious convictions. It's guaranteed to us by our Constitution. It does not mean that we hate or despise anyone or want to deny anyone their constitutional rights. But we will, however, in our churches preach our gospel, and we will not be impeded in any way because of it or discriminated against because of it. We don't want to hold up anybody else's lifestyle or deny them of their lifestyle. But you're also not going to deny me my lifestyle as well. We need to stop beating around the bush and stop being afraid to say that and stand up for that.
But of all the candidates, the one that I find most loathsome, frankly, is Pete Buttigieg. And by the way, folks, it is not because he's homosexual, although that, frankly, is not something that would recommend him. It is not because he stood up on stage and gave a big wet smack and kiss to his male homosexual husband, lover, whatever he's supposed to be, when he announced his candidacy for president. And I do find that to be thoroughly disgusting, And folks, may I just say something that I know you will never, ever, ever hear on secular radio or television, but it needs to be said. Homosexuality is not normal. It is not normal. And normal people find it disgusting. Normal people find it disgusting. And look, I'm not saying that to try to be nasty or anything like that. I'm saying it because that is consistent with the biblical principles that are enunciated around it. The Bible calls it unnatural, calls it an abomination, and there's no way that a normal person with a godly orientation will find engaging in and making public displays of behavior that the Bible says is unnatural and abominable. There's no way that a normal person will find that to be anything but disgusting, right? I mean, how else could you find it? And I don't mean that as just some sort of empty ad hominem that I'm throwing out, although I know the left will certainly spin it that way. I'm being biblical in the way I'm expressing myself here. And therefore, while most people would never admit it because they know the opprobrium and the persecution and the attacks that come as a result, I think most people in the country saw that, heard that, and thought, how disgusting. I mean, just disgusting. Well, but here again, but it's not for that. It's not for that. Here's what disgusts me about Pete Buttigieg. That unlike the other candidates who are openly and blatantly godless, okay? Bernie Sanders is godless. I mean, I think he's an atheist, and the rest of them have no reference or mention of God whatsoever. Pete Buttigieg tries to couch his policy positions and his ideas and his persona as somehow this evangelical, born-again Christian. And, but he has these bizarre ideas about what Christianity stands for and what it means. And I find that not only hypocritical, I find it.
You know what they do in San Francisco, some of the gay community, they want to get people, so if they've got the stuff, they'll have a ring, you shake hands, and the ring's got a little thing where you cut your finger.
Really?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's that kind of vicious stuff, which would be the equivalent of murder.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'd for that one, go
for
back
this
to
one,
your
church is involved.
Yeah,
I
go
think
back to your church.
Yeah.
You're fine. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
We have allowed the enemy to come into our churches. I was talking to some Christians, and they were talking about how they have invited these gay children to come into their home and to come to the church, and that they were wanting to influence them. And I thought to myself, they're not going to influence those kids. Those kids are going to influence this parent's children. And what happens is we think that we can fight by smiling and being real nice and loving. We have to understand who the enemy is and what he wants to devour our homes. He wants to devour this nation.
See, because of that ignoramus statement, I do wish that they could have had Elsa be a lesbian from the get-go, from the very beginning. Not like 5 movies later, not 10 movies later, but right from the get-go. So, yes, representation can be good if done correctly. Not just there for its own sake. What do you call that? Virtue signaling, of course. There should be more to the character than her sexual orientation, of course. But in the grand scheme of things, since this was never indicated in the first film, I say don't let her have a relationship of anybody with regards of gender. And she doesn't necessarily need to have a relationship, and she's fine the way she is. I mean, yes, they could do it out of spite. They could do it just to show that people like this do exist. People like this are actually real. People are like this are people. They're human beings like everyone else. That is true. But I'll go more into this kind of a thing later on in the next video, folks, because the individual who made this podcast, it's really bad. All right, folks. As always, thanks for watching and staying tuned for next time, I guess. Later. Oh boy.